Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Abbas Hussain with you. And today we are going to set up SNO, which is also called single node cluster in OpenShift. Okay. So before startup of this SNO lab, we have already discussed some limitations regarding the CRC, because in the CRC you will not be able to install OpenShift virtualization operator. And if you will install, as a as I have already shown you in the previous video, maybe somewhere in this video, in this slide, you will may get some error at the end when you will try to install the OpenShift virtualization operator in the CRC cluster. And why it's happening? The reason is that there are few limitations, because CRC cluster is a pre-packed OpenShift bundle. You don't have full OpenShift installer options in the CRC. So that's what's the reason. A lot of other reasons, but I'm not going into that details this time. My focus is to only to configure SNO. Okay, for your personal knowledge or understanding, you can go into detail why what are the reasons with CRC. But in the CRC, what you can do, you can at least practice Ex280 exam objectives. Okay. So if you wanted to only practice EX280 objectives, then that's enough. You can go with the CRC. But if you wanted to fully utilize OpenShift cluster to have more practice, to have more learning, then you will need to install full-fledged OpenShift cluster. Okay. So there are three options now. One is CRC in local setup, and for cloud you will have sandbox. Same copy of CRC. Whatever you can do with the CRC, you can do on the sandbox as well. It's already available on Red Hat Cloud. And then locally, you what you can do, you can install SNOs as a single node cluster, and then you can also configure multi-node cluster. In the same way, there are multiple methods to do that. But in our case, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use single node cluster with all the options. In the multi-node cluster and in the single node cluster, you have all the options. Everything that you can do on multi-node cluster are in the production environment. So if you have a very limited type of requirement into your office or into your setup, then SNO is a variable good, very good option for you to deploy the OpenShift cluster. And if you have a lot of requirements in that case, it's not mean the requirement of features. Features of SNO cluster and multi-node cluster are same. Keep that in your mind always. There is no difference feature-wise in the multi-node or single-node cluster. Both are backed by Red Hat community. So Red Hat will give you subscription-based support. Okay, and in the same case as well, you will get in the SNO as well. Okay, only the difference is that in the multi-node cluster, you will need more resources like RAM, storage, compute. Okay. So if you have limited number of resources, then you can go with the SNO option. And today we are going to install SNO in one of virtual machine. Okay. And second thing is that in EX280 exam, you have some of few objectives that you need to practice in full-fledged OpenShift cluster. And this will also help you to practice more on EX280 exam. And same as EX316 is also. You can do the practice on this cluster. So if you will ask me on CRC, EX280 could be practiced, but more recommendation is that uh, you can install SNO. But on CRC, EX316, not possible. If you will talk about me, I have given the exam of EX280 and I have practiced all of exam questions in CRC. And I have passed that exam with very good marks. Okay, so it's your choice. So now we are going to have both the objectives you wanted to practice EX280 or 316. In both cases, it will work for you. But if you have very limited number of resources, for example, very maybe 8 GB RAM and let's say 50 GB drive, then you can use CRC. So the link is the same. We can go towards the browser, and here I can find console. I already have somewhere in the history the cluster option, and from when you will click on here, you will also have to log in with your ID. I have already logged in. As you can see, this is my RHN ID already. I am logged in. And from here, you can go to cluster list as well. You can go create cluster. And from here, you have to choose data center, not local. Local only will provide you the option of CRC. So we are going to build our data center. And from here, you can click on create cluster. And in the create cluster, you can have some name of your cluster. It could be any. There is no restriction what you need to just here. In my case, I am going to put, let's say, uh, let's say EX316, or you can say, you can type any other name, SNO, uh, SNO 316, you can say like this. And here is the domain name. You can put any. I'm just putting hsntech.local. And from here, I have to choose the OpenShift version. It's by default showing 4.18.7, but this time your exam may be in 4.16. So I will choose 4.16. And here you will have OpenShift. There's multi means it's a multi-node cluster setup. So I will choose single node, and there is no option where he has mentioned single node or multi-node. Only if there is nothing, it's mean it's a single node, and if he has mentioned multi, it's mean it's a multi-node cluster. And there are developer preview and developer preview release. You don't need to select that. So I'm going with 4.16.38. And CPU architecture, it's okay. And number of control plane nodes, from here you will have to choose single node OpenShift. Include custom manifests, you need to select. And provided cluster configuration is not valid. Okay, there might be some issue. SNO. Uh, let's say pass. I'm just putting it name as a pass. Now it's okay. Maybe SNO I have used somewhere else, or you can use SNO1. Okay. And now it's asking, you can click on next. Everything is same. You don't need to choose anything. Here, host configuration, DSCP only, static IP, bridge or bounds, and I'm using DSCP only. Next. From here, you will have operators. These are operators you can install later on in OpenShift cluster. As I have shown you, if you will see, I was trying to install OpenShift virtualization operator later on after installing the CRC. So in case what we will do, we will install these operator later on for our practice. So you can install with the this setup as well. From here you can choose, let's say OpenShift virtualization. So it will install everything. But no, I don't want it to install from here. I will install these later on. Okay. So just press next. And from here you will have to add host. I will add host. And from their Previan type, you will have to choose ISO. So full image download a self-contained ISO, minimal ISO, multiple type as well. But you will have to choose full ISO image file. This one. And from SSH public key, what you have to do actually, if you have any other virtual machine based on Linux or any virtual machine, from there you can share the SSH public keys, or even on Windows if you have option you can do that, because when this cluster will be created, how you will access that? So by default there will be no username for you. You will have to access this cluster from the machine, virtual machine. So in that case, what he's asking you can put public keys of that virtual machine for SSH key based authentication. So in my case, what I have done, I have already one virtual machine with name Ubuntu. Normally, I use this virtual machine for my own working. Maybe you will have also same, especially for the trainings. I'm using this virtual machine. When I'm just teaching someone, I'm using this virtual machine as a reference virtual machine. Okay. So in this virtual machine, what I will do, I will just generate keys. So SSH dash keygen, hit enter, 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 enter. And now in the home profile of this user, let's say this user is a boss. So I will have to go hidden directory.ssh, cd.ssh, and from you will have here you will have id underscore rsa.pub. So cat id rsa underscore uh, dot pub. And now what I will do, I will sorry, from here I will copy this. Or what I can do, I can do another thing, vim id rsa.pub. From the terminal as well I can copy it. And if you have done any mistake into this file, then there will be a problem. Okay. So let's suppose like this. Sorry, I will just copy and I will paste this here. Okay. And now you will have to, or you can upload these as well. If you can do that, that is also possible. Okay. So I will generate discovery ISO. And now I will download the ISO. You can use this command as well. Okay, so I am going to generate, and it will take some time to download because it will contain 1.2 GB of size. Okay, so once it will download, we will start our virtual machine. So in the notes, if you will say there is a minimum requirement to build or create SNO cluster, 8 cores, 32 GB RAM, and 128 GB disk. If you have SSD, is more better to have that, but HD or old technology drive is never ever recommended for this. This is the minimum requirement, but if you wanted to run it for production, at least you must have 16 core processor, then 64 GB RAM and 500 GB NVMe drive. Okay. And here in the notes, you can see storage performance matters. SNO is sensitive to disk IO. So if you have NVMe, more disk read and write speed, it will good to have that. In the installation options, you can see you can install it on VMware Workstation, VMware vSphere, or ESXi, or Oracle VirtualBox, or any other hypervisors. They are on physical machine as well. In my case, I have VMware Workstation 17 on my this laptop, and my laptop is containing Intel Xeon series processor with the model E2176M mobile processor. RAM is Samsung 64 GB DDR4, and disk again Samsung 2 TB NVMe. Okay, and other thing is that there is an other additional parameter that you need to enable specific if you wanted to have practice on OpenShift of virtualization technologies in the OpenShift cluster. Then you will have to add one parameter in the VMware VM virtual machine settings file, or configuration file, or many list file, you can say any name. So once you will create SNOVM, you need to edit one file named your machine name dot vmx. It's mean you will have to find vmx file, and then you will have to edit that. You can open it in the notepad as well, and then you will have to add this parameter, then save this file, and then again start the virtual machine. So meanwhile, the ISO image is downloading. It will take some time. As it will download, we will create our virtual machine from here. Okay, so let me close it, and I will go to VMware. I will create one virtual machine. And if you will say, I have the library of my virtual machines, and here I have already created two directories, past dash VMs. So how I have created this, just go click on computer, right click, and then you can create new folder like this, test one. And same as I have created OpenShift, I have already created CRC setup there. Let me remove this one I have created. So in the OpenShift directory, I will create SNO as well. So let me create one OpenShift virtual machine. Next, I will install operating system later because my ISO is still in the downloading process. Once it will download, we will attach it with the VM. So from here, I have to create select Enterprise Linux 9. Then next, I have to give some name, and but the location that it's showing, I don't want it to save this virtual machine here. Instead, I will go and I will create one directory where I'm using my VMware Labs. So I will use SNO uh, SNO for 4.16 38. Okay, SNO. Okay, I will copy this path, and now I will come back here. Here I will paste that path, or I can browse from here. And same as I will give this name 416 4.16.38. Its simple meaning is that. Okay. Open shift SNO. Mode clarity on your virtual machine name. Next, I will have to choose at least 100 GB, but VMware using thin provision technology. So if you will, let's say, go 200 GB, it does not mean it's occupying 200 GB. It will occupy only the storage is taking actual space. And next, customize hardware. From here, I will increase RAM because I have already 64 GB of RAM in my laptop. So I'm just going to give, let's say, around 40 GB. Okay. And CPU, I will make it like this, four processors. Then, and I will enable para virtualization or nested virtualization. That is more important. And from here, it might possible you may get some error with the net. Then in that case, you can go to the bridge. But specific in the CRC, you will always have to take setup as a bridge, and you will have to replicate it into with your physical network. But in this case, you will not have to face such issue as you were facing with the CRC. Reason is that in the CRC, you already have one VM, and in that VM, you are installing KVM virtualization, and in the KVM virtualization, you are creating one VM. So there is working, one working, then sub working and sub working. I hope in this case, you will not face such issue. So I will keep it close and finish. So my virtual machine is ready. I will move it from here to here like this. Sorry, here like this. And now I will just have to wait to uh, download the image which is in the progress. So once it will be downloaded, it will take around few minutes, and then we will start next. Meanwhile, downloading is in progress. Let me do another thing. I have to now I have created the virtual machine. So let me edit its VMware configuration file, and from here you can see it's VMware virtual machine configuration file. It's not the VMware configuration file. It's virtual machine that we have created. So I will have to open it. Let me open it into edit in Notepad as well. Okay. So here somewhere I will have to add one parameter, and you can add this parameter. Copy. Okay. Save this one and open it again. Let's see. Mm, okay, it's true. So let me go back towards the downloading. Almost 1 minute is remaining. It will again depend on the bandwidth you have with your internet, and it will also depend on the portal how much bandwidth is assigned to download a specific image from anywhere. So it will all depend on that, on how many connections are there to download a file. For example, in IDM, maybe this file we can download within 1 minute because it make more connections to download from same link. So finally, we have downloaded that image. Let's go back to the virtual machine, enter the virtual machine settings from CD DVD. You will have to go downloads, let's say, and from here you will choose that ISO image. Okay, and now you will have to turn it on. It will automatically boot. And now for the OpenShift, Red Hat specifically launched a new core OS. Okay, so now go to cluster, close this one, and here you will find this information about that host. If the information is coming, then it's mean you are going well, and if the information cluster information is not showing here, then you will have problem. So for few minutes you will have to wait, and then once it will take the, I think, network informations, then okay, what's going on? It has downloaded the live ISO image. Let me see something. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Now discovered. I just refreshed this one, and now I have got. You can see if there is a problem, you will find that problem here. It will not say it ready. Okay. So now you can do next. Memory is showing, CPU is showing, the total storage is showing, and the roles that it will install it's showing. So you just have to press next, and then all bootable disks except from okay, and next. From networking, you don't need to change anything. The network that it will use, and status, it is insufficient. Why? You just have to wait, it will show. DNS wildcard not configured, and DP, and okay. Now it's okay. Everything is okay. So just have to go next, and now it's showing the summary of everything. It will use this network ID, and now just install cluster. So now it will take some time. Maybe it will depend the internet connection. It will depend the hardware resources you have given. It will take everything. It will maybe take 30 to 40 minutes. So it's 2:30:29 this time, and almost 3:30 p.m. in my laptop. So let's wait how much time it will take, and let's see what is happening here. And if you will say, there might be some changes here happening, but we will have to see here. Okay. So installing control plane node. So what actually is happening behind the scene? Uh, there is pre-configured live OS which contain cluster name that we have given, storage, RAM, CPU configurations, means VM information, then also embed the keys we have already put into cluster. We have, after this settings, ISO was created. We have downloaded the ISO boot up, and once live ISO get network configurations, based on internet, registered on Red Hat portal, then we got new instructions page based of the instructions we have given after the booting the ISO. Now installing that live ISO into VM now. It's happening behind the scene. It's something like you will download, let's say, here maybe you want to live ISO image like this. It will ask you, to you wanted to run as test or you wanted to install into your system. And when you will say we wanted to install into your system, it will starting installation. Otherwise, it will just a live ISO image. Once you remove you restart the system, you will not find the operating system. It's something like that. So it's happening, and here the percentage is still 0%. And from here, you will find some other preparing for installation and cluster summary. Everything is there. View cluster events, you can say it's happening here. Status of cluster preparation, update status of cluster to ready, and everything is happening. Okay, now you can see preparing step successful. So now it's saying 10%. So time to time it will be SNO1.hsintech.local, the address, the version, host network configuration, DSCP, host one, and this is all the information about your cluster. So let's wait what is happening, what will happen.